All right, it is Tuesday night. We're here on Forbidden Knowledge. I'm Roderick Martin, Truth versus Authority, and we're going to be talking about the soul trap. I know a lot of people talk about seeing what we call a soul net. What if it's true that there is some type of soul net that is catching souls and returning everybody back to Earth when we are being reincarnated or incarnated? So either which way, I think there's a difference between reincarnated and incarnated. But we're going to go over this tonight. We're going to talk about the false light and who's behind that false light. And we're going to get into how they do it. How do the reptilian trap us or trap our souls and bring us back? We're going to get into the memory wipe. Who's wiping the memory when it comes down to this? And of course, there is a reincarnation cage that we're going to talk about tonight. We'll talk about the loosh, the spiritual mockery. We're going to get into a lot of these things, especially how you can be sovereign, but multiply the soul trap that everybody is talking about. So let's get right into this. We're going to get down into it so you know if your soul is going to come back here. You don't want the reptilians to trap you where you're reincarnated so they can drain your loosh. You want to be able to incarnate on your own terms. Let's talk about it after this. And we're alive Tuesday night right here on Forbidden Knowledge.
That back there is not real.
There was a group of reptilians there, and they stood around me in a circle.
Tradition tells us that the army of the Messiah is not to come from heaven, but is to rise from inner earth.
Okay, so we had this conversation yesterday on my personal channel. If you didn't know, I do have a personal channel that I do 5 days a week, 5 for 5 on Roderick Martin, Truth versus Authority. And we talked about the first version of this soul trap. And so I'm going to go a little deeper here on Forbidden Knowledge tonight, kind of cover some of the things that we talked about Monday. But of course, this is a whole different channel, different network. And all of you are kind of here for the first time of doing what we do. But there is a conspiracy out there, or it is truth out there, that there is something out here that is taking or blocking. And if you start going through Reddit, you start going through a lot of these different channels, people are starting to report not only seeing the soul net, but also saying that it exists and that it's around Earth and there's some other stuff. Now, I do have a science document from Science Daily that I'm going to go through, and they're talking about in 2014 where they discovered an invisible shield around the Earth. So we're going to talk about that tonight as well. But also, I forget it was happening in the Monroe Institute. He was saying that when he was doing his out of body, Dr. Monroe, or whatever his name was, that he felt that he was hitting this net when he was doing his astral out of body, and it was bouncing him back in here, which goes back to some of the rumors that I used to talk about, like some of the rich people, wealthy people. It's like they always trying to get off the planet to die. They did not want to die here on the planet, maybe in Mars. So is it when they get past Earth and space, if that exists, that they are past the soul net? So we're going to challenge that belief tonight as well, but we're going to get into it. So one of the things about it is there are a whole lot of things that when they talk about the sky grid phenomenon, so I'm going to get into that. The tunnel of light. Now, most important, I want you to stick around because there is something that they say that when we die, that there's a false light. How about knowing that there's a false light and how that you're going to be trapped back into this thing? And it is happening in real time. So I think everybody is seeing it. We're understanding these things. And so let's get down into it. So I want to welcome all of y'all here. And so we can go. The very first thing that we're going to talk about this is the death light trap, the reptilian hijack of the afterlife. This is kind of my subtle title or subtitle of this. And the first thing you need to know, death is not a liberation, as we were taught to believe. It's not that liberation, but it's a moment, again, that the reptilian control grid net, they tighten their grip. They like to kind of, and you've seen a lot of movies where they talk about our souls and how they're using things. So we're going to get into that, and I'll check some of the chats here in a little bit. We got Nick Malone. She was saying it's not the light that they told us about. So we're going to get into that as well what's wrong with coming back. There's nothing wrong with coming back. So we're going to discuss that. There's two ways that I think that you come back. You can come back as reincarnation, which is they are reincarnating you. And sometimes we're going to discuss that, how they're putting it back into those same trauma lines. And then there's people who are incarnated. Those are people who get out of the trap and then they say, hey, send me back. I have a purpose, or I need to enlighten some folks. Put me back in the game, coach, telling source that. And so we would get into that. This is a very important thing that we're going to study right here, because when a human body dies, I just kind of give this to you, consciousness step out into the astral. So just kind of visualize yourself after death, and then all of a sudden this consciousness comes up, and it comes out. It has the etheric planes that we're talking about. Pure, it's unbound, it's vulnerable, number one. And that threshold is the greatest deception where it all waits. And that's where the deception comes in. This is what we was talking about. It's called the false light. So put in a chat if any one of you heard the theory of the false light. And if you have, put in a chat and just kind of go into this conversation with me. So we'll continue down that pipeline, or rabbit hole, I should say, in a few seconds. So if you have experienced what we call or know anything, and you don't say about experience unless you've been dead and coming back. But if you have experienced the false light, I would love to hear or know anything about it. Someone said, yeah, we're here. I haven't seen your podcast in ages. So glad we have found you and shutting up now. Oh, you're good. All right. So I'm on Monday night. If you're talking about forbidden knowledge, Billy Carson, I'm here on Tuesday. I'm Roderick Martin, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'm on my own personal channel, which is Truth versus Authority. And I'll put it on the screen real quick right there. Screenshot this, Truth versus Authority, Roderick Martin. I have my own YouTube channel 5 days a week. Do a lot of reptilian talk. So if you want to hear about that, go there right now. All right. So false light. I'm looking for chats. I'm looking for people who have heard about the false light. So right now, Fresh Gaia Smile says it hijacks your sovereignty, and what I created also releases ancestors from bloodlines. Keep hating like when we know it. Thank you. All right, cool. Yeah, and so that false light is some serious stuff once you start thinking about it. Now, almost every near-death account describes the same thing. If you start looking up on YouTube, look up on Reddit and all of these places, Twitter, probably TikTok, a lot of places, they all talk about a tunnel. They talk about this radiant glow. They talk about figures of loved ones, angels, and saviors, and these guys that show up. And that's really one of the things, because if one of your loved ones show up in your near-death experience, or when you die, it's going to feel warm. It's going to feel familiar. It's going to feel divine. But again, keep in mind, this is not source. And that's going to be the topic of this conversation as we go deeper, as we're going to go into source. But if you start thinking about what David Icke talks about and all these people, that this is a frequency projection that is happening. It's engineered, number one, by these archons, the Reptilian Alliance, that lure the soul back into what they call the form. And this would be the loose form. And so think about that as we continue to go forward. Now, before we get into who is doing it and why they're doing it, and I already exposed who is doing it, but we will go deeper into that. But just think about this for a minute. There was a time, even myself, I've told this story before, when I was shot years ago and I woke up in the hospital and I saw these lights and stuff. Really, it was from the hospital bed lights. They had a thing over my head. But I remember prior to that, I was like, oh, I don't effed up and died, and you start looking at these things. But what really hook you, that they say, is that the light speaks what we long for the most. So it already knows your biggest desire. It knows you probably want a reunion. It knows that you're looking for comfort or maybe home, or you want to stop suffering, because a lot of people die suffering and they're like, I'm tired of this suffering. But these images that most people are seeing are programmed illusions. And we're just talking about a digital design that's made by non-human intelligence. And like I said, there's a lot of people talk about these non-human intelligence, and who, again, they have mastered the emotional manipulation. And they've been doing this for tens of thousands of years. We're just now probably coming more, through meditation and all this stuff to even know that these things are exist. And those are things that are. And again, I will look into the chat here in a few moments to go back into it. And again, we talked a little bit about this Monday or yesterday on my channel. Now, what you want to go. So let me start it out right here. There is something called the trap. All right. The trap is going to be this reincarnation cage that we're all placed back into. And this is where the souls who enter the false light, then they don't ascend. So this is very essential as we learn and continue to talk, that a lot of people think that the soul ascends when they do this. So what they do, they redirect the soul into the net grid. It's like you're trying to bounce up out of this thing and then you'll bounce back. Then they memory wipe you. Now, I was doing some studying. They was talking about how I was reading a video, and even in MK Ultra, I was doing studying that too. If you know, don't know, I'm a certified UFO investigator. If you know that, I've been on all these different TV shows. I've host shows on Gaia, I've host shows on Fox, the History Channel, Ancient Aliens, Roswell. So you can find me on TV if you decide to look some of my stuff up. I got a best-selling book out right now called The Unspeakable Truth. It's about the UFO stuff, and Billy Carson wrote the foreword on it, and also the publisher. We'll talk about that later. So we're talking about memory wipe. So in MK Ultra, they was talking about how they use like 200, 300, 400 of votes that wipes people's minds, or they try to get them to reset when they're doing this MK Ultra. But when it's a soul memory wipe, from my understanding, this is 20 times, 100 times greater. It's an enormous amount of power that goes in and have to wipe your entire memory, not just the memories that you have now, but memory of all the other past lives that you have already probably attended. And so they're doing this, and from my understanding, it creates a lot of trauma that we all go through coming back here. And so now you're recycled into a different type of incarnation, and you return to Earth with none of their ancient knowledge. Now, that's the key. It's time for us to stop looking at things face value of that knowledge. You want to be able to, how can I put it? A lot of us are studying knowledge, but the key to it is to remember. If we can begin to remember, we don't have to study it. We already know. We just got to remember. And so that's the duty of doing that when they say it says something like when they say, don't look into the light. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that they go into. Now, again, the result of this is an endless loop of lifetime after lifetime, and obedience, forgiveness, and easily controlled, and constantly, again, generating illusion. You got fear, you got trauma, you got suffering, all for the reptilian harvest. All of this stuff is what it is, and they're loose forming. And if you remember the movie Matrix, The Matrix was talking about how the human body was, the machine found out that the human body was like magnets and stuff, and so, or batteries, so to speak, and they was able to draw all this energy from the human body. So that goes back to what we really are. We're energetic beings, or light beings, or all of these things. But the question is, how do they do it? I'm sure you may be asking it. How do they reincarnate us? How do they trap us with the soul net? And is there a way to get around it? And I'm glad you asked. We'll be discussing that next on how to get around it. But let's kind of go through that and as I look into here. Someone says, good title. Reptilians kind of do with fear, greed, not understanding love, thinking separate universe from everything else. Anything in the reptilian, if you see love, it's no issue. Okay. So, yeah, I think Kilanta is good. I've been reading, Ashanta, whatever her name is, books, Voyages 1, 2, 3, and energetic, realities, which, she has stuff on Kilanta and stuff too. And I actually got all her programs. So that is going to probably be good too. How do they do it? We talk about archonic projections. All right. The tunnel is a technological simulation, a holograph soul frequency trapped by Saturnian and lunar machinery. So we'll get into the moon in a little bit too. They do emotional manipulation. The loved ones, you see their fabricated forms and built from your own memories and emotional mindset that is going to trigger compliance. So most likely you'll be able to listen to your dead grandmother telling you to come into the light versus something else. And so it will pick that memory that you're fond of and begin to direct you back into the light. And then once again, we're talking memory wipe. The soul experience are stripped, sealed, and deleted in what they call a lunar storage grid before reincarnation. So we're talking about the uses of the moon, why the moon is going to be doing what it does. So we're going to be doing that as well. We'll get into that. So yeah, make sure y'all hit that like button, and so we can kind of go from there. Lunar processing. The entire recycle mechanism is run from what we call a hollow artificial satellite that we call the moon. And that lets people know the moon has a purpose, but it's sitting there once you think about it. And so we're going to get into the moon. We'll get into more about the moon, but why they do it. Why do these reptilians or these archons trap our souls into the soul net and continuously want to reincarnate us back into this world? The first thing is loosh. The first thing is loosh. It's endless loosh, and that is going to be from pain, because all of the pain that you go through, the fear, the confusion, the heartbreak, the trauma. This is their food. You know, human reincarnation is the battery for the form. This is what they're doing. And those are one of the things that you can look at the end of the day. The other thing is density containment. They like to do this as long as we remain trapped in the third density. And, you know, for there are 3D, we remain blind, we remain compliant, we remain easily manipulated. This is why you want to raise your consciousness and you want to get a little better to get into 4D at some point, and then 5D. There are some people who are in 4D as we speak. And once you arise, you rise up to the fourth density, which is 4D and beyond, their influence collapse instantly. They just can't even do anything with that. So the other part, number 3, is spiritual mockery. One of the greatest cruelty of all, they weaponize your longing for love and home and unity, because those are the 3 main things that most people need: love, home, and unity when it comes down to that. And so when you think about our souls getting trapped here on Earth, and you got to go back and look up a lot of stuff too, because they'll be saying like Earth is a prison planet. You know, it's a prison planet, right? Go look that up, and then you'll kind of see what people are saying somewhere. Lisa says, I'm reading the chat right now. I read somewhere there's a soul trap mechanism on the dark side of the moon. Yeah, I'm explaining that right as we speak, and that's why they won't allow us to land there. There will be some truths in that, because there's a lot of things that don't want us to go back, and a lot of people think that we've been to the moon, we're just not going back to the moon, you know, because they don't want us there. So those are things to you can go and check that out yourself. The other part is what should be our return to source, and because the doorway back into bondage. So we should, if you want to return to source and not get caught into the soul trap, then you're talking about sovereign refusal. You just got to refuse a few things. At death, you have to not follow the external. No tunnels, no figures, no beckoning light. You know, you don't do any of that. And of course, you want to question everything. You want to be like, well, who are you? Well, I'm your grandmother. Well, tell me something, you know, just whatever, because it is projecting all of these things when it comes to that. And so basically, you're going to just question everything. You're going to basically question every single thing that you can think of. And then you want to also look at what we call the test the guides. You want to test them. If there are angels, you know, or relatives, and they cannot withstand your demand for the truth, then they're false. And so start asking for truth, and then see what the angels tell you. See what the your relative tell you. You're like, hey, well, what's this? And your grandmother says, well, you don't need to really know. Just come on in here with me, and I got you, baby, or whatever. And you're like, what? And so those are the things that you can think about, and you should be thinking about when it comes down to this. True source don't manipulate. So just know during that soul trap moment that a true source is not going to manipulate you when they do that. So you just want to program your soul like they're telling you. And before death, set your intentions. I don't know if it's not a tragic death and you're going to be a slow death. You might could sit there and be like, I want to set my intentions. I want to return only the source. That'll be things that you would say. But really, you can start setting those intentions now before you die. Long before you can be programming that years in advance before you do that and say, I will not enter false light. I will reclaim my sovereignty. And then, of course, the conscience stuff there. So we're going to get deeper into the moon and its reptilian stuff in a few moments. But the main thing is to get you to understand and see what I'm talking about, when we get to this stuff from there. Call on source. That's another thing I want to tell you. You can call only on your source. You can, don't be calling on no lords. Don't be calling on no masters, no deities, not even beings of light. You call on source, right? And then you'll get that sovereign path that you're looking for. And only the creator, the source will is where you want to come from. You want to go back to source, because every soul, just remember, the reptilians know this. Every soul carries a spark of source. You all do. All of us have the spark of source, and the reptilians can't extinguish that. They can't put the spark out. They can hide it. They can hide your spark, but they cannot put that spark out. So when you reject the false light, you break the cycle older than recorded history. They've been doing this stuff to the beginning of time. And so you can really begin to fight that. We're going to talk about the moon next. Now, some of you was talking about the moon, which is what we're going to lead into. The moon, again, is the control system or station, I should say. And the soul trap is above. So the moon is the control station. And to be honest with you, it's not no moon. We call it a moon, but it's a space station. It's been there. They parked it there. Obi-Wan Kenobi talked about it in Star Wars. They just brought the moon in, and so it's one of those things. The moon is not a natural satellite. It's a control node. It's placed in Earth orbit by reptilians, Orions, the Draco Alliance, and again, it has one purpose, and that's to hijack the human soul cycle, and they want to just keep you coming back here over and over. And the surface, if you think about it, is barren. Ain't nobody there, but its functions not. It acts like a broadcast to the mind. Remember, someone else was talking about that there is some type of frequency coming from the moon. They talk about how they hit it and it vibrated like a bell once. There's a lot of stuff there, and it really has a way to direct cosmic light or mirror the cosmic light, so to speak. And so that's something from there. So to go deeper into this, we're talking about the reptilian. We'll get into the rebirth trap. Before that, I just want to share with you, if you didn't know, I have my new book is out. It's The Unspeakable Truth, and it's about how fake history, Christianity, and self-oppression rob African Americans of a voice in the modern UFO revolution. Billy Carson is the publisher. He also wrote the foreword, and he says a lot of good things about this book. And it goes into really deep. It's 2 years in this, from researchers to everyone else. We go into the ancient history. I go into extraterrestrial advanced technology and giants and UFOs. I go into all of that. This is one of the masterpieces out there, and even Billy himself, he talks about that. And so I just want you to kind of know what this is about, how deep this book is. And if you want to get your autographed copy, I got a few left. Simply go to right here on the screen, RODERICKMartin.com, and order. I'll ship it out. I'll sign it for you and get your copy out there in pretty much. And so just screenshot this. It is in the description of the video, RODERICKMartin.com, and I will love to give you an autographed copy. And Billy says some good things. He says there's a moment in history when you can trust no longer remain barren. He talked about this book. He says The Unspeakable Truth is not a book for that challenge, not just a book, but it challenges history and confronts the very foundation upon which modern civilization has been built. He talks about how I explore a lot of interactions and ancient civilizations. And so Billy wrote a huge foreword on this. So definitely go to RODERICKMartin.com. I got 5 copies here that I can sign and autograph. And of course, I can order more anyway, but these are some right here that I have, and I would love to send this out to you. You can order right now. If you order it now while we're on live, I'll give you a shout out as well, because the order will come through the phone. So once we kind of go there. The SoulNet Reptilian Rebirth Trap is where we're going to go. The reptilian factions feed not on flesh that we think. They on our life force of being what they call looped into densities. And so we're talking about the moon. Okay, so you order it. Let me put it on the screen for you. I appreciate you. Go right here. Go to RODERICKMartin.com, and you'll be able to, Conan, go there, RODERICKMartin.com, and place an order. And they'll have a section, to ask for your name. So I'll autograph it to you. I'll kind of meditate on it and give you a personal message. And we'll ship that out to you. It's already, like I say, Billy and everything. This is a good book. This is really good. It's about 400 pages, a lot of research and stuff from there. So definitely, like I said, I'll give you a shout out, whoever orders their copy. Anyway, like I said before, the Soul Trap and the moon houses what they call the Soul Net. He said, wait a second, I can't spell. It's on the screen right there. If you look on the screen, and it's right there in front of your screen. If you're on your phone or visual, you'll see the web addresses on the screen. It's also in the description of the video as well. All right. And they said the moon houses a soul net, a frequency barrier that scans, filters, and redirects souls after death back into 3D incarnation. All right. So those are the things that they're saying that the moon does, which is very interesting, by the way. But instead, returning to source, most souls are intercepted at death by what they call the false lights. All right. And they're talking about the false light when this is happening. Then they're shown what they call guilt-based holographic life reviews. Then they're urged to reincarnate to learn more. And then a memory wipe is reinserted into what they call a trauma-ridden timeline. So that's going to be happening there. So this isn't karma. This is energetic harvesting, a loop that keeps humanity bound in what they call polarity and forgiveness. And so that is something that you want to look at it. So we are getting to the moon. We'll get into the moon part about this. And so that you can kind of do that. The moon is the source of these manipulations that is happening. It's a transmitter, all right? The signal of the moon originates from Saturn. So if you ever heard of the black cube, black Saturn, Saturnian, a lot of these rings generate what they call a standing wave of bounding frequency, and it emit through what they call the black cube of control. And you'll see this all the time. You see Trump Tower, you'll see tons of different stuff that talks about how the moon and its control is. And so when you start thinking about the Saturn's heptagon, the storms, they all are talking about to kind of look at. So the moon receives this beams and they beam it from Earth. And again, if you just join us, we're talking about the soul net. There is a soul net. In fact, right here, back in, this is from Science Daily, in 2014, November 26th, they were led by University of Colorado in Boulder, discovering an invisible shield, which is 7,000 miles above Earth, that blocks what they call killer electrons. So if you start thinking about blocking the electrons, which would be probably our bodies and how they're doing this, then they're already talking about that they have found this soul net. So look it up. It's called Science Daily is the website. The title is Invisible Shield Found Thousands of Miles Beyond Earth, Blocks Killer Electron. It was done November the 26th, 2014. Look that article up and it'll kind of explain to you that they're not calling it the soul net, but they found it. And then if you look on Reddit, there's a lot of people who are actually seeing this thing. Okay, they're actually seeing it in the sky. And it's a little different than chemtrails. So don't confuse it with chemtrails. All right. And so it looks a little different once you start looking up those things. For example, let me find my other notes here to kind of go into a few things here. They said that you can talk about psychedelics as a reality filters and removals, okay? And the theory is that substance like DMT, LSD, a lot of these things temporarily removes the brain filter. So that'll kind of supposedly, I'm not saying it does, allow you to connect when it comes down to this. And then they're saying that a lot of shamans and occult people traditionally use altered states of that, okay, in pretty much. Let me find my phone, wherever I just deal with it. Oh, here it is. And I will check. Conan said he just got him a copy of the book, so I will look in here to give you a shout out if the order has been processed. And so I will definitely thank you 1000% once we go down there right now. Okay, so yeah. All right, so y'all give Conan a shout out for purchasing the book. All right, appreciate it. Let's do it. Oh, a lady. I said Conan. My bad. Oh, I didn't see your picture. I'm sorry. Listen, I can't. My computer screen is way over here, so I just see the thing. But let's give you a honorable apology because I see the beauty. And look in your face, like what? All right, so I see the beauty. Appreciate you, and thank you for there. So please charge it to the mind and not the heart. And I didn't see, but thank you for getting your copy of the book. Like I said, I got a couple more left. If any of you want to get your copy, I will sign it and send it out. And I will give a very special touch to the autograph. Thank you. And peace and blessings, I will say. All right. So we also talk about the tunnel of light theory. I skated on it just a little bit, right? I touched on it just a little bit. And they saying upon death, the souls allegedly encounter a false light. The tunnel is framed as salvation, but it's a recycling. The memory wipes forces souls back into the reincarnation cycles. And then, of course, it's a little different when you see. Even when you start thinking about the force field that is around Earth, MIT, when I was telling you about that earlier, discovered the radiation barriers that reinterpret as evidence, and they talked about the planetary containment. So you probably heard that this is a soul prison, or Earth is a prison planet. And it's not because when I first heard that years ago, I'm thinking, oh, well, maybe all of us is bad. We don't committed a crime and it's a prison. It's just that it's a prison because we're locked here. All right, we're locked here. And somebody said, you better spray some cologne on it. You know what? I got you. I will do just that. Okay. I got you. And I will do that. I will remember to do that for you. But anyway, we're just talking about the moon. We're talking about the other stuff there. And then, of course, the grid itself and the reptilians' emotional harvesting. We're talking about the matrix as a hologram, the holes, and there is holes in the grid, and then consciousness as the real battlefield. And once you are going with that, reincarnation is the truth. Everyone knows deep down, but brainwashed by religion. Yeah. And there is reincarnation and incarnation. All right. And so one of the other will definitely help you, down that path once you start doing with that. Let's do some Q&A for a minute. How many of you got questions about this soul net or maybe you know some about it, and I'll put it on the screen here and we can kind of discuss this together if we want to do that. But just kind of talk to me about any questions that you may have regarding the soul net itself. And I'll wait there because there's a delay, and so I'll wait for the chat a little bit. But How many of you seen it? You know, you might have seen it. You might have thought it was chemtrails, but when you look closer, it was a little more organized when you start thinking about that. Maybe we need, like I say, we need to look deeper into it, and we will, but we'll go down that rabbit hole. I could say once we start going down. So I'll wait real quick and see if we got any uh, things in the chat that we need to address before I move forward. Like I said, there is like a 3 or 4 minute delay, so it'll kind of seem that I'm just kind of sitting here chilling, but at the end of the day, we'll just kind of go from there. Someone said, I'm sorry about that. Wouldn't affect the magnetic band around the Earth. How does it get through that? Maybe we could be talking about the same thing. If you're talking about the magnetic field and then this invisible shield that they're found 7,000 miles out, so that's probably a little further off in there, a lot of deeper. So we can kind of look and see what that meaning is and what they're talking about. Someone said for only 63 cents a day, you can support my data center. All right, I hear you. Our conscious is a prison of our own making. Yeah, well, the mind is it, right? The mind is a prison, and just so happens they know this, and so they try to keep these things to where it is. How can we escape the soul net? Great question. You have to know when you go to the false light scenario is that you got to remember and don't get yourself caught up into that, right? The moon, like I say, of course, is just the trigger. But the main thing is you say to yourself that you're a sovereign. You make sure, and I was reading that for you a while ago. I'll go back to it, but it's an intention. And you can set those intentions early if you want to, like in the now. And once you set your intentions, and then when that does happen, your mind should already be where you are. So the intentions that you want to set before death is that I return only to source. I will not enter false light, and I reclaim my sovereignty. So those are things that you want to put in there, and that'll keep you or help you escape the soul net upon death. Because like I said, a lot of people, if you went out and did some type of regression, you'll probably find out you had multiple lives. You've been here a long freaking time. And that is something that I would encourage anybody, if you can find the right person to do it, that you will go and make that happen. And so we will look at it from that standpoint. Outside of that, one of the things that I'm going to do is someone said, I would like to share John Washington work. Okay, so I don't know who that is, but that's cool. One of the things that this Thursday, we're going to be in our Patreon. We're going to be in our Patreon studying some symbolism this Thursday. So I do have a private Patreon. So I'm going to put this up so you can at least copy this. It's called the Parallel there. It's the 33 Parallel. This is where we unveil hidden knowledge. You will be able to get some shadow work stuff, information done. You're going to get you're going to do free webinars in there 2 or 3 times a month, live trainings. You get a personal consultant call every month for 30 minutes if you're a group to this. And we need to change it. We only have room for maybe 50 people, but it's saying it takes more, but I'll change that. But if you go to truthversusauthority.com, and a lot of stuff we're going to discuss in that Patreon. So make sure you see that right now, Truth Versus Authority Patreon, and take a look at that and understand what we're doing. And again, it's going to be a wonderful place. It's our private place. We'll live stream there. We'll do a lot of stuff there every Thursday night around 7 p.m. Central Time. But if you miss anything, you'll be able to see the archives. You'll be able to watch some of the webinars. You'll be able to download documents and a lot of stuff in there. There's things in there already, but start moving forward. We're going to do some things. So hopefully that fits. You all want to be part of that Patreon, the parallel knowledge, so that you can learn a lot of esoteric stuff that we can't talk about out here. We can't put it out here on YouTube because it just doesn't work once we do that. So we'll be moving to that as our back door starting this week now. So it's open now if you want to join. And again, I'm gonna go back. I don't see too many questions unless I'm missing something, and then we can kind of go from there. Yeah. So once I believe more in grays and stuff, yeah, I do too. You know, I'm a UFO investigator, so that's fine. They all are here. Let's go with that. How do we break our cosmic connections with others or elevate? All right. So that's a great question. Now, if y'all know that if you're near Dallas, we're going to be doing a relationship, cosmic relationship seminar August the 8th here in Dallas. But how to break that? You have to. What I did was I ended up writing letters and all this stuff to disconnect, and then of course burning it, you know, and doing a ritual on that point. So there's a lot of ways that you can disconnect. In fact, I wrote this. This was a few months back to any and everybody I've been intimate with over the years. That you breaking it, especially if I'm going to move on into a new, better relationship. I want to make sure all that stuff is clear. So Google that a little bit and find what works best for you. But you definitely want to do that clearing without a shadow of doubt. So the clearing is definitely important to make sure it happens. And so those are things that you want to continue to do. How do we wake up? I mean, wake up is remember, you know, not so much a wake up, just start remembering things, and then you'll be able to understand that once you do that. So waking up is going to be studying more esoteric knowledge, and especially if you come into I'm not trying to sell you, but if you come into our Patreon, you're gonna be woke up. I mean, the whole crowd is woke up, the energy is woke, everything is woke. And so you definitely can do that. But the main thing is you can't grow spiritually learning religiously. That just doesn't happen. Do you know anything about human design and astrology that meets quantum physics? I know a little bit about human design. We'll get into that probably in another podcast. We can go deep into that. Actually, I need to write that down. That is a good topic to really go into, because that leads me back to the reptilian stuff, right? All the time. So we would just have to look at that all across the board. All right. So don't think that that's not going to be it. So we will definitely look at that. Can you repeat the lines that you stated for saying upon death? Okay. Before death, you want to set your intentions. Line 1 is I return only to source. Okay. Line 2, I will not enter false light. And line 3, I reclaim my sovereignty. So those are the 3 lines that you want to pretty much use. And this is what we call conscious intentions, and it's carried into the afterlife. So you say it in this life, but your conscious intentions will carry into the afterlife. So that'll be something that you will pretty much do from that point. So with that being said, we can go a little deeper in some places, but you know, I would do a little Q&A, but we're already 45 minutes in it, and then I started 5 minutes out. And so, but tomorrow, we're going to talk about some stuff on my podcast tomorrow at 5 o'clock. So if you haven't had an opportunity, I want you to subscribe to my personal channel, if you don't mind. And that is Roderick Martin, Truth versus Authority. Subscribe to my personal channel, and we will get a lot of things done together. So Roderick Martin, if you type it in YouTube, will take you to my personal channel, and we will meet there at 5 o'clock Central every day, Monday through Friday. So I'm doing 5 o'clock. So, you know, we're pretty good there. I can go deeper and talk about this stuff, but I know it's confusing to people when we start talking about soul traps and reptilians, but they already said it. The UFO files telling us that reptilians is here. So that should give you enough belief system that, hey, we're not effing around, that this is some true stuff. So look into that once you begin to find that out, and we can, again, go further than there. So if y'all don't have any more questions, I'm going to stop at the soul trap. I was going to get deeper into the moon stuff, but I think that just kind of started there with you, and then we can kind of go there. I feel that it should be anyway resonate with you. Yeah, they talked about this in the movies from the 80s. Yeah, You know, it's been out there. And Clean says, "Your magic to my ears." Thank you. And again, if you want to hear more of what I have to say, just type in Roderick Martin on YouTube, and you'll be able to find that. And then for those of you, like I said, if you get an opportunity to get a copy of the book, I would definitely appreciate that. And give you a shout out. We can do that as well. Let's see what we got here. Let me see. There's a few things that we can do. And so again, I appreciate everyone supporting what we're doing. So let's knock that out the box, all that good stuff. So talk about who bleached the moon. I don't know who bleached the moon. Maybe that's just the color it is, and our fingertip prints everywhere. Yeah, but that's good. God's here. Ube people. All right. Y'all are pretty cool. Y'all are some real cool people. Again, I appreciate each and every one of you, especially what we're going to be doing and how we're going to be doing it. And if you're in Dallas, we're having a movie get together June the 13th. We're going to be going to a Pacific Theater. Okay. We're going to be going to a Pacific Theater, and that theater, we're going to watch the movie Disclosure. So we're going to be doing that. And we're going to have a lot of fun doing that. So you definitely want to check us out. That we're going to be watching that movie. Theater. We're going to be watching it. Let me make sure I got this right here. There we go. We're going to be watching the movie Disclosure. And we're going to, someone said, I just ordered the book, right? Whatever spirit moves you. I will do that, Lisa, 100%. Thank you for ordering the book as well. And like I said, I got a couple, and this is good. You're going to really enjoy this book, okay? You're really going to enjoy the book and all that. I appreciate y'all. And for those of you, like I said, if you join our Patreon, if you join any of those things, if that's what you're interested in, you definitely want to be a part of that. Joining our Patreon, joining, our secret esoteric knowledge that support our channels, and all of this stuff. Don't forget me. I'll order my book too. Oh, you did? All right. I got you. All right. Let's get it. I won't forget you. Let me give a shout out. I won't forget you. I'm with you 100%. Someone says, do you think you're only taught what they want you to know? Yes, you'll program what they want you. You'll program for the program they want you to run. So definitely they're programming us without a shadow of a doubt. They're definitely programming us from there. Where are you going to be next week? Next, does Billy live in Dallas? Billy don't live in Dallas. He lives in Florida. He was here in Dallas. We did a big event last month. We had Billy here in Dallas. We had an Epstein survivor here in Dallas. But the next event that we're going to be doing here in Dallas is August the 8th. And that's with Brother Joseph and his crew and Brother Dreamwise and all of them. They're going to be here. We're going to be doing a kind of a relationship thing. So you definitely want to come and check that out if you're living in Dallas. And so, but we are going to do a June 13th. We're going to meet up here at the event center, and then we're going to caravan over to the movie theater. We're planning on renting the whole movie theater so that we can do our watch the movie Disclosure together. So that's going to be really good. So we're looking forward to doing that. So my thing is, please show up. Come on with it. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to really have some good time doing what we do. So I'm excited about that 100% of what we're doing. So, all right. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Question. You should ask again. I don't think he read it. Well, that's a great question. What question, Akata? So let me go back and see. Do you think let me put it right here. Do you think if the whole world lost all the technology but kept our history, that life will be better? I don't know about life being better losing technology, because if you start really thinking about it, is really technology is dumber than we used to be. Even though we're looking at these gadgets and things, but remember our ancestors and people communicated across lone plains without with this. They was doing it in the astros. We moved things with our minds. We healed with thought. So and thought was the creator of things, and so we began to be codependent on electronics as they're moving us into transhumanism. And so I think that that's been one of the things there. And we look and see. So I don't know if that was the question. I'm just scrolling back up. This one is said, if we escape the soul trap, do we transcend to another soul system? All right. So yes, you will move on to another soul system, another dimensions, because there's like 15 dimensions. There's a lot of dimensions. But there are some people who decide that they want to come back for a purpose. Because you think about indigo children, you got a lot of people's kids are incarnated. They come back and say, I want to get back in the game, coach. So that's always been something that has always happened for quite some time. So I think that's one of the things. And so you are going to ascend, but you do have an opportunity to. And the best thing about incarnation, they usually come back with the gift of knowledge because they done beat the system. They're not mind wiped when they are reincarnated. So I think that's one of the things to consider when you're thinking about that as well. All right. Do you believe in, let me see here, the human design? I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I've studied the samsara, if I'm pronouncing it right, a little bit, but I do believe in human design. I mean, we were designed. Source created us, and supposedly we're the better of them all. This is why a lot of these ETs and they can't procreate. They don't have the emotional intelligence. There's a lot of things that they don't have. And so that design is something. Maybe I need to go deeper into the human design. But the whole point is, yeah. All right, let's go. All right. So with that being said, I'm gonna get out of here in a little bit. Somebody said I call all of this bull crap. You can. And why wouldn't you if you've been reincarnated, don't know that you've been trapped in trauma and different things over and over. If you think we die, we just die and we turn into dirt, dust, and dirt to dirt or whatever, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with your thoughts. I would go with that if that's what you think. You'll be back. Hopefully one of these times you'll be like, damn, I've been here before. And you probably get that feeling already. You've been here before, deja vu and all that, because you have, and so those are things that you will get, but go with it. I would go with that without a shadow of a doubt. How do you know if we can choose incarnation? Well, if you get past the soul trap, the soul net, then obviously you're not reincarnated. You decide to be incarnated. All right. So that you will get past the soul net or the soul trap, and then you will make a decision for yourself. And then you can kind of go from there. So I think that's the main thing. If you begin to look at it that way from there. What do you think we were born before born? I think you were here before you were born. And then whether you become a soul or some spirits, which we know there's a difference, then you can kind of do that. I set up a telescope directly in my big screen and all of that stuff. So, all right, I am going to get off of Forbidden Knowledge tonight, and I will see you all tomorrow. If you go to my channel, Roderick Martin, and subscribe, I'll be there at 5 o'clock. We're going to talk about some of this sex reptilian rituals that they do on sex and all this stuff that gets us going where we are. And so I think that's one of the things that is pretty deep. Today, before I came here, we was talking about how the reptilians control celebrities. So if you want to go back to my channel, a couple of hours ago, I just did a live stream on that, and we walked through that. So I would love for you all to go check that out. Again, I'll put it on the screen. You can go to Roderick Martin, Truth versus Authority, right there, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And we can talk from there when we do this. Outside of that, See y'all on the other side, and I'll see y'all next Tuesday if you come back next Tuesday, or 5 o'clock every day on my personal channel, and I will see you all from there.
UFOs,
UAPs,
unidentified anomalous phenomena.
unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Who are they? Where are they from? And what is their intent?
All questions that immediately come to mind with the mention of UFOs.
A Pentagon report is detailing a dramatic increase in UFO sightings, more than 350 since 2021. Many of them are explained as being drones, birds, or weather events, but about half of them remain unexplained.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
This video taken by the Navy showing what he describes as pyramid-shaped UFOs flying over the USS Russell off the San Diego coast in July of 2019. The Pentagon has since confirmed that the video is authentic.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection. Late this afternoon, a bulletin from New Mexico suggested that the widely publicized mystery of the flying saucers may soon be solved. Army Air Force officers reported that one of the strange discs had been found and inspected sometime last week. Our correspondents in Los Angeles and Chicago have been in contact with Army officials endeavoring to obtain all possible late information. Joe Wilson reports to us now from Chicago. The Army may be getting to the bottom of all this talk about the so-called flying saucers. As a matter of fact, the 509th Atomic Bomb Group headquarters at Roswell, New Mexico, reports that it has received one of the discs that landed on a ranch outside Roswell. A disc landed at a ranch at Corona, New Mexico, and the rancher turned it over to the Air Force. Rancher W.W. Brazil is the man who discovered the saucer.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are.
More people are coming forward with their own sightings.
Videos recorded by U.S. Navy personnel have added a new layer of evidence to the current national debate about UFOs.
Right at that moment, I saw what looked like 5 lights flying in formation in kind of an inverted check mark.
The NASA independent study team did not find any evidence that UAP have an extraterrestrial origin. We don't know what these UAP are.
The mysterious flying objects are still a mystery. NASA will continue investigating them and has appointed a director of UAP research.
Technology that we faced was far superior than anything that we had.
Look at the fly!